On this quiet day, the nation pauses to honor four American legends whose lights went out just hours ago. Each came from a different path, yet all shaped the country in ways that still guide its heartbeat, from the architects of political truth to the voices of cultural resistance, to the icons who redefined music and sport. These 7 stories remind us how deeply one life can move millions. Their journeys were bold, complicated, and unforgettable. Tonight, we look back on the impact they left on stages, on streets, on fields, and in the soul of a nation still learning from their footsteps. This is a moment of remembrance and gratitude. The news arrived quietly this morning, carried through a soft wave of messages and confirmations from Washington. The passing of Mark Mellman had been officially confirmed, and a sense of stillness moved through the world of American politics. It felt like a moment when a long chapter had come to its final page, leaving behind the thoughts, strategies, and insights of a man whose work shaped the very language of campaigns for more than 4 decades. For years, Mark Mellman had been a presence behind the scenes, a mind constantly measuring the pulse of the nation. He understood how people thought, what they feared, and what they hoped for. He built a career not in the spotlight, but in the quiet space where decisions were shaped, speeches were crafted, and elections were won or lost. As founder of the Mellman Group, he became a trusted voice to presidents, senators, governors, and leaders whose choices rippled through the country. His passing on November 20, 2025, left those who knew him remembering not only his work, but the steadiness of his guidance. In the early years of his career, Mellman showed an unusual ability to read shifts in public opinion before they appeared on paper. Colleagues often said he had a rare instinct for human behavior, something that went beyond charts and numbers. He believed every data point represented a living story, a worker's struggle, a family's hope, a community's fear. This philosophy shaped every report he crafted, turning statistics into narratives that political leaders could understand and act upon. Those early insights caught national attention quickly. Campaigns began to seek him out, asking him to study the country's mood and give them a map of what people wanted. By the time he reached his mid-career, Mellman had become one of the most respected strategists in Washington. His advice influenced major races across the United States, and his name became synonymous with accuracy and discipline. Friends describe him as a man who remained calm even during the most intense political storms. Mark always saw the larger picture, one longtime colleague shared in a tribute. He could look past the noise of the moment and see what truly mattered. He kept us steady when everything else felt uncertain. That steadiness became part of his legacy. Beyond polling, Mellman believed strongly in the values he supported. In 2019, he founded Democratic Majority for Israel, known as DMFI, a group that sought to connect democratic values with support for Israel. The organization worked to ensure candidates understood the policy, history, and strategy behind America's long-standing ties to the region. Whether people agree with him or not, Mellman's influence was undeniable. His work helped shape political conversations that stretched far beyond Washington. When news of his passing spread, messages of tribute began appearing across social media from lawmakers, journalists, staffers, and former clients. Many spoke about his professionalism, but even more mentioned his kindness. One senator wrote, "He had a way of cutting through confusion without ever raising his voice. You always felt he was guiding you toward the truth." A younger campaign researcher added, "He shaped the way we understand modern polling, but he also shaped how we treat people in this business with respect and patience." As the public remembers Mellman's work, his colleagues recall the long nights, the careful calculations, and the quiet moments spent reviewing data until midnight. They remember how he insisted on clarity, accuracy, and honesty, even when the numbers were difficult to hear. He believed leaders needed the truth, not comfort, and he delivered it with consistency. His approach to polling reflected deeper values. Mellman had long argued that data was not meant to predict the future, it was meant to guide decisions. He believed public opinion reflected the health of a democracy, and that listening to people, truly listening, was the most important part of governing. This idea became central to his work and helped reshape how campaigns communicated with voters. Those who worked alongside him say he had a gentle way of teaching. Interns recall him walking through offices with a cup of coffee, stopping to ask what they were working on and how he could help. He never treated anyone as too new or too inexperienced. Every person, he believed, brought a unique perspective to the table. That humility made his office a rare place in Washington, where hierarchy never overshadowed collaboration. As the documentary looks back on his life, it becomes clear that Mellman's legacy is not only about the campaigns he influenced, but the culture he helped build inside political strategy. He created a space where accuracy mattered as much as empathy, and where every voice contributed to understanding the country's changing mood. His final years were marked by steady work and continued influence, even as new technologies emerged. AI models, predictive analytics, instant response systems, Mellman never lost sight of the human element. He often reminded younger analysts that numbers were only useful when they reflected real lives. That belief became his signature. In interviews, Mellman spoke gently about the responsibility of political consultants. He understood that every piece of advice carried weight, shaping decisions that could affect millions. He treated that responsibility with seriousness, always ensuring his work served the public interest. Friends say this sense of duty came from deep moral roots, shaped by his upbringing and early experiences in activism and leadership. As stories of his life continue to surface, another recurring theme appears: his loyalty. He stood by colleagues through difficult times, supported new leaders as they grew, and maintained friendships that stretched across decades. Many described him as a mentor who expected excellence but gave guidance with patience. His influence also reached beyond U.S. borders. International leaders sought insight from his analysis of American politics, and universities asked him to speak about the art and ethics of polling. Students remember him as a thoughtful, encouraging speaker who believed the future of political science depended on integrity and curiosity. In the midsection of his story, there were moments that shaped him. He worked through elections that shifted history, crises that shook public trust, and periods of deep national division. Through all of it, Mellman remained steady. He believed data could help restore understanding between leaders and the people they served. That belief kept him working, even when the political climate felt heavy. In the final years of his life, Mellman continued advising campaigns quietly, offering insight when asked, but stepping back from the pace he once kept. He spent more time with family, more time with colleagues, and more time supporting young strategists who hoped to follow in his path. Those who visited him during these years say he remained sharp, curious, and deeply committed to the principles he held throughout his career. When the news of his passing reached Washington, the silence in several offices felt heavy. Staffers paused meetings, analysts opened old emails with his notes. One friend wrote, "His voice was always calm, even when everything around us was chaos. I will miss that calm more than anything." Another family statement shared softly. He cared about people. He cared about understanding them. That's what made his work meaningful. His story now continues through the people he shaped. Students he mentored have become pollsters. Colleagues he trained have become senior advisors. Staffers he encouraged now lead departments. His approach, thoughtful, measured, and human-centered, is carried forward by all of them. As this documentary chapter moves toward its final moments, the narrative turns to what remains. Mellman's legacy is found not only in political victories or strategic insights, but in the belief that democracy depends on listening. He dedicated his life to helping leaders hear the country more clearly, and that work lives on. Quiet reflections continue to come from those who knew him well. A childhood friend wrote on social media, "He never tried to be famous, he tried to be useful." That simple line captures a truth about his life: that influence does not require a spotlight, only dedication. The final scenes of his story unfold softly. A man who stood behind so many decisions now becomes part of the memory of a nation he helped understand. His colleagues look back with gratitude, his family looks back with pride, his field looks forward, knowing his ideas will remain part of its foundation. In the stillness after his passing, his legacy settles into place, a legacy of clarity, of listening, and of understanding the heart of a nation through the voices of the people who live in it. His work shaped conversations that will continue long after him, carried forward by those who learned from his steady example. Mark Mellman will be remembered as a mind that illuminated the way forward, a guide through the shifting moods of a nation, and a steady hand in moments when patience and truth were needed most. His story now becomes part of the larger legacy of those who dedicated. A hush fell over Minneapolis on the morning of November 21, 2025, as news spread that Garry "Jellybean" Johnson, one of the city's most vibrant musical voices, had passed away. Known for his infectious energy behind the drum kit and his undeniable presence in the studio, Johnson was more than a musician. He was a heartbeat that defined a generation. Tributes began to pour in almost immediately, from fellow artists to fans whose lives had been touched by his rhythms, melodies, and unshakable passion for music. The city that nurtured his talent now mourned the loss of a legend, whose influence reached far beyond the stage. Born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, Garry George Johnson grew up in a household where music was more than a pastime, it was a way of life. From an early age, Johnson displayed a natural rhythm, drumming on anything he could find and picking up guitar with a curiosity that never waned. Those early days in local clubs and community centers honed his talent, laying the groundwork for a career that would become inseparable from the Minneapolis sound. By the time he joined the Time, Johnson was already a seasoned performer, blending raw talent with an intuitive understanding of musical dynamics. His time with the Time marked the beginning of a career that would see him working with some of the biggest names in music. Johnson's drumming was precise yet playful, his guitar lines inventive, and his songwriting imbued with a sense of rhythm that demanded attention. Fans remember the way his beats seemed to breathe life into every song, creating a pulse that audiences could not resist. His work with Flight Time further solidified his reputation as a creative force, capable of shaping not just individual songs but entire albums. Fellow musician Morris Day once remarked, "Jellybean doesn't just play music, he makes it move through you." That's a rare gift. Johnson's influence extended beyond the studio. As a producer, he nurtured emerging talent, helping young artists find their voice while maintaining the authenticity of the Minneapolis sound. Colleagues often spoke of his generosity in sharing knowledge, and his unerring ability to recognize potential. He had this way of seeing the music inside. Someone recalled a longtime collaborator. He could hear it before they even played it. That's why he was more than a drummer, he was a mentor, a guide, a force. Those who worked with him remember the countless late nights in recording studios, the laughter, the quiet moments of creative struggle, and the breakthroughs that made every challenge worthwhile. Yet, for all his professional accomplishments, Johnson remained deeply connected to the community that shaped him. Minneapolis was not just a backdrop to his career, it was a stage where he learned, grew, and shared his gift. He frequently returned to local schools and music programs, offering workshops and inspiring young musicians to pursue their passions. Johnson believed that music was a bridge, connecting people across differences and generations. "Music saved me," he once said in a local interview. "If it can save me, maybe it can give someone else a chance too." These words resonate now more than ever, as those who knew him reflect on a life dedicated not only to performance, but also to fostering hope and creativity in others. The passing of Garry Johnson also brings a reflection on the wider impact of the Minneapolis sound, a fusion of funk, rock, pop, and R&B that changed the music industry. Johnson's role was pivotal. His signature grooves and rhythmic innovations became a blueprint for countless artists who sought to capture the same energy and spontaneity. From Prince to contemporary performers who cite the Minneapolis era as inspiration, Johnson's influence is woven into the fabric of modern music. Tributes have appeared on social media, with fans sharing stories of the first time they heard his drum lines or the way a particular song made them feel seen, alive, and part of something larger. One fan wrote, "Jellybean's beats are the soundtrack of my life. I can't believe he's gone. But his music will never leave us." As the news of his passing circulated, public figures in the music world offered their condolences. Musicians spoke of his precision, his creativity, and his unwavering dedication. A fellow drummer shared, "Losing Garry is like losing a heartbeat in music. He wasn't just keeping time, he was creating life." These sentiments reflect the profound connection Johnson forged with anyone who listened, played alongside him, or simply admired his work. His artistry transcended instruments and charts. It became part of a cultural memory, a testament to what music can achieve when paired with passion and integrity. Throughout his career, Johnson maintained a humility that belied his fame. Despite accolades, tours, and studio sessions with world-renowned artists, he remained approachable, generous, and grounded. Friends recount moments when he would quietly observe a young musician struggling with a rhythm, then step in with a guiding hand or an encouraging word. His laughter filled rooms, and his presence was at once commanding and comforting. It is this combination of talent and warmth that endears him to fans, colleagues, and family alike. One former collaborator said, "Jellybean had a soul that spoke through music. When he played, it wasn't just entertainment, it was an invitation to live fully, to feel deeply." Johnson's legacy is also marked by his adaptability. Over decades, music evolved, but he remained relevant, continually experimenting and embracing new sounds without losing the essence of his identity. This willingness to innovate kept him at the forefront of a changing industry and ensured that his contributions would resonate with multiple generations. Audiences remember the live performances, the energy on stage, and the precision in his recordings. Critics often praise his ability to fuse technical skill with emotional resonance, making every track a testament to his dedication and artistry. Family and close friends describe Johnson as a deeply loyal and loving figure. He cherished moments away from the spotlight, enjoying simple pleasures with loved ones, yet never shying away from the demands of his career. His passing leaves a profound void, yet it is accompanied by the comfort of memories, recordings, and stories that ensure he remains present in hearts and minds. His niece shared, Uncle Garry taught me that life is like a drum beat. You may not always control a rhythm, but you can always find your groove. Such words capture not only his philosophy, but also the impact he had on those fortunate enough to know him personally. As we reflect on the life of Garry Jellybean Johnson, it is clear that his contributions to music were immense. He helped define a sound, guided countless artists, and left a legacy of mentorship and inspiration. The Minneapolis sound will forever carry traces of his creativity, and every drum beat and guitar riff that echoes his style serves as a reminder of a life devoted to music. His passing is a loss to the industry, to his city, and to fans worldwide. Yet his spirit endures in the rhythm of the songs he created. In closing, the memory of Garry Johnson is one of vitality, generosity, and an unshakable love for music. He will be remembered not only for the songs he played or the beats he crafted, but for the way he connected people through sound, passion, and creativity from studios to stages. From Minneapolis to the farthest corners of the globe, his influence remains. As fans and fellow musicians alike reflect on his life, they find solace in knowing that while the man may be gone, the music and the spirit behind it lives on. Garry Jellybean Johnson leaves behind a world richer for his presence, a rhythm that will continue to inspire, and a legacy that will endure for generations. In every note and every beat, he remains with us, an eternal echo of the Minneapolis sound. A quiet morning in Atlanta turned somber on November 24, 2025, as news spread of the passing of al-Amin, formerly known as H-Rap Brown. Revered and controversial in equal measure, al-Amin's life was a testament to the unyielding pursuit of justice and the fight for civil rights. From the streets of Selma to the pulpit of his mosque, his voice had carried a message that both inspired and provoked. Tributes began pouring in, acknowledging not only the turbulence of his journey but the depth of his convictions. He was remembered as a man who dared to challenge the status quo, whose life was a mirror of America's struggle for equality. Born in 1943 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, al-Amin grew up during a time of intense social and racial tension. As a young man, he became known as H-Rap Brown, a fiery voice within the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, or SNCC. His speeches were electric, capturing the urgency and frustration of a generation denied basic rights. He spoke with courage and conviction, often risking his safety to draw attention to injustice. "We must demand freedom, or we must die trying," he once told a rally in the 1960s. Words that would come to define his life and the path he chose. Al-Amin's activism carried him from SNCC to the Black Panther Party, where he became a prominent figure advocating for the empowerment of African Americans. He embraced a philosophy that systemic change required direct action, education, and community building. His leadership was both celebrated and vilified. Mainstream media often portrayed him as a radical, but within the communities he served, he was a symbol of hope, courage, and resistance. Fellow activists remembered him as unafraid, unyielding, and unwavering in his commitment to justice. Despite controversy and legal battles that would later dominate his life, al-Amin's early years reflected a deep belief in the power of collective action. He traveled the country, organizing workshops, speaking at rallies, and mentoring young activists. He emphasized the importance of self-determination and pride, urging communities to take ownership of their destiny. His words resonated with thousands who were searching for a voice that articulated both anger and hope. He spoke for those who could not speak for themselves, noted a fellow civil rights leader, reflecting on al-Amin's enduring influence. In 1970, a pivotal moment arrived when he was charged in connection with civil unrest, an event that would set the tone for decades of legal challenges. Yet even amid imprisonment and trials, his commitment to justice did not waver. Supporters organized campaigns, highlighting systemic issues and questioning the fairness of his treatment. Al-Amin's story became inseparable from the broader struggle for civil rights, illustrating the complexity of activism in a society grappling with deep-seated inequality. His transformation into al-Amin marked another chapter of his life. Following a period of reflection and spiritual development, he embraced Islam, changed his name, and shifted his focus to community leadership. As an imam, he worked to uplift those around him, emphasizing education, spiritual growth, and social responsibility. While public perception remained divided, those who knew him closely described a man devoted to reconciliation and healing, someone who sought to channel the intensity of his youth into constructive guidance. Family members recall al-Amin as a man of profound intellect and unwavering faith. They describe quiet moments in his home, times of prayer, and conversations filled with reflection on history and morality. He carried the weight of the past and the hopes of the future with remarkable dignity, said a relative in a statement after his passing. His life was not without hardship. but it was marked by resilience, a commitment to principles, and a relentless pursuit of what he believed to be right. Al-Amin's public life was always intertwined with controversy, yet those controversies did not erase his impact. His speeches, writings, and organizational work inspired a generation to question oppression and to act in the service of justice. From Selma to Atlanta, from rallies to community centers, his message endured. Historians and scholars have since noted his role in shaping the discourse around Black empowerment, civil disobedience, and the challenges of systemic inequality. His life is a reminder that leadership can be both courageous and complicated. Social media and public figures reacted to his passing with mixed emotions, reflecting the duality of his legacy. Many praised his dedication and fearlessness. One social media tribute read, "Jamil Abdallah Al-Amin may have been misunderstood, but his courage and voice changed lives. Rest in power." Others reflected on the tensions of his life, acknowledging both the conflict and the contributions. The discussions themselves are a testament to the enduring relevance of his work. As an activist, Al-Amin understood that the struggle for justice was neither simple nor safe. He faced arrests, criticism, and personal danger throughout his life, yet he persisted. His teachings emphasized awareness, empowerment, and the need to confront uncomfortable truths. He encouraged younger generations to engage thoughtfully, to learn history, and to participate actively in shaping a fairer society. In many ways, Al-Amin's life mirrored the broader civil rights movement, a mixture of triumph, tragedy, struggle, and hope. Colleagues and historians alike reflect on his speeches as seminal moments in American activism. From fiery rallies to quiet community meetings, he had a knack for capturing the attention of his audience, inspiring both reflection and action. His voice carried urgency, but also a vision for a better world. Through decades of social change, his words remained a reminder that activism demands both courage and accountability. He challenged us to see beyond our comfort zones. One former activist said, "He made us question, reflect, and act. That is a rare gift." Despite his contentious public image, those who knew him personally recall a man who was deeply committed to his family, community, and faith. He maintained connections with friends and allies, often providing guidance and mentorship behind the scenes. Al-Amin's influence extended beyond speeches and media coverage. It was in the lives he touched, the individuals he empowered, and the movements he helped sustain. His approach combined spiritual grounding with practical activism, reminding those around him that change requires both heart and strategy. In the wake of his passing, scholars and civil rights organizations have begun documenting his contributions more fully. His life provides a window into the complexity of American activism during a time of significant social upheaval. By studying his journey, new generations can learn about the challenges and sacrifices inherent in fighting for justice, the resilience required to persist, and the importance of community in sustaining change. Al-Amin's life is not simply a story of controversy. It is a story of conviction, courage, and the enduring power of voice. Today, the legacy of Jamil Abdallah Al-Amin continues in the conversations, movements, and communities he influenced. His work reminds us that the pursuit of justice is often difficult, fraught with obstacles, but always necessary. Tributes from former colleagues, students, and community members emphasize his passion for equality and empowerment. One close friend noted, "Jamil believed in the impossible. That belief is what kept us moving forward even when the world resisted change." In closing, the memory of Jamil Abdallah Al-Amin is one of fire, conviction, and the enduring struggle for justice. While his life was marked by controversy, it was equally marked by dedication, courage, and an unwavering commitment to the principles he believed in. From the streets of the civil rights era to his later years as a spiritual leader, Al-Amin inspired countless individuals to stand up, speak out, and fight for a better future. His voice, his energy, and his vision remain with us, a testament to a life lived in pursuit of justice. The story of Jamil Abdallah Al-Amin will continue to resonate, reminding us that the path of activism is never easy, yet it is always vital. In every reflection, every tribute, and every lesson shared, he lives on, a symbol of resistance, courage, and the enduring power of conscience. The city of Seattle awoke to quiet grief on November 22, 2025, as news confirmed the passing of Kenneth Mason Easley Jr., known to millions simply as Kenny Easley. For decades, Easley had been more than a name on a jersey. He was a force of nature. On the football field, a symbol of strength, discipline, and relentless determination. Tributes immediately poured in from teammates, fans, and sports analysts, all recalling the man who earned the nickname the Enforcer through his remarkable presence in the game. In living rooms, stadiums, and training grounds across the nation, memories of his interceptions, tackles, and leadership came rushing back. A reminder of a legacy that continues to inspire athletes, Today. Born in 1959 in New Haven, Connecticut, Kenny Easley's athletic journey began long before he ever stepped onto a professional field. From a young age, he displayed a rare combination of speed, intelligence, and physicality that marked him as a natural talent. In high school, coaches quickly noticed his uncanny ability to anticipate plays and make decisive moves. He was not just strong, he was smart, understanding the game in ways few could. These traits would become the foundation for a career that would captivate fans and challenge opponents alike. Easley's collegiate career at UCLA cemented his reputation as a standout safety. Playing in the Pac-10 Conference, he became known for his instinctive reads, devastating hits, and game-changing plays. Coaches marveled at his work ethic, noting that he approached every practice with the same intensity he brought to a championship game. Kenny had a presence on the field that demanded respect. One former UCLA coach recalled, "He wasn't just a player, he was a leader, a strategist, and a force that could change the outcome of a game in an instant." These qualities foreshadowed the impact he would have in the NFL. In 1981, the Seattle Seahawks selected Easley in the first round of the NFL draft. From that moment on, his career became a story of dominance and excellence. As a safety, he combined speed, awareness, and ferocity, earning respect from teammates and opponents alike. Fans quickly noticed his ability to read offenses and make plays that seemed impossible. His interceptions were not just numbers on a stat sheet, they were moments that shifted momentum, lifted spirits, and inspired teammates to elevate their own performance. Easley's impact on the Seahawks was immediate and profound. He became the backbone of the team's defense, guiding younger players and setting a standard of professionalism and dedication. His nickname, the Enforcer, reflected not only his physical play but also his presence in the locker room. Teammates remember him as a man who led by example, whose quiet confidence and unwavering work ethic set the tone for the entire team. He was the kind of player everyone wanted beside them on the field. A former teammate said, "Kenny made you better, simply by being there." Beyond his physical skills, Easley was celebrated for his understanding of the game. Analysts often praised his ability to anticipate plays and react with precision. He studied opponents, memorized formations, and brought a cerebral approach to the sport that complemented his athleticism. His combination of mind and body made him one of the most formidable safeties of his era, a player whose highlights continue to be studied by aspiring athletes. For many, Easley represented the ideal of what a professional football player could be: talented, intelligent, disciplined, and passionate. Off the field, Easley was a figure of humility and quiet strength. Despite his fame, he maintained a grounded presence, focusing on his family, community, and personal development. He supported charitable causes, mentoring young athletes, and advocating for programs that helped underprivileged youth. His commitment to giving back reflected the same determination he showed on the field, a desire to make a meaningful impact and leave a lasting legacy. Kenny never forgot where he came from, said a longtime family friend. He wanted to help others rise the way he did, not just in football, but in life. Easley's career, however, was not without challenges. Injuries tested his resilience, and the physical toll of the game eventually led him to step away from professional play earlier than many expected. Yet even in retirement, his influence remained strong. He continued to mentor, coach, and guide, sharing insights from his remarkable career with those who sought his advice. His presence in the football community endured, reminding everyone that greatness extends beyond statistics, trophies, and accolades. It is measured by the lives one touches and the standards one sets. Public reaction to Easley's passing highlighted the breadth of his impact. Fans shared memories of his most memorable games. Commentators reflected on his strategic brilliance, and teammates spoke of his character and leadership. Social media was flooded with tributes, ranging from heartfelt messages to stories of first experiences watching him play. One fan wrote, "Kenny Easley wasn't just a player, he was the reason I fell in love with football. His intensity, his vision, his heart, it's impossible to forget." Such tributes illustrate the deep connection Easley forged with a generation of sports enthusiasts. Throughout his life, Easley exemplified the principles of perseverance, discipline, and integrity. He understood that success was earned, never given, and he worked tirelessly to refine his skills, support his team, and mentor the next generation. Coaches, players, and analysts alike recognized his unique combination of talent and leadership, acknowledging that his influence stretched far beyond the Seahawks stadium. His name became synonymous with excellence and commitment, a benchmark for aspiring athletes across the nation. Easley's legacy is also reflected in the evolution of the safety position. In professional football, his style combining aggression, awareness, and intelligence helped redefine expectations for defensive players. Modern safeties continue to draw inspiration from his approach, studying his techniques and applying his principles in this sense. Easley's influence continues to shape the game itself, bridging generations of players and fans. Watching him play was like watching a masterclass, one former coach said. He taught lessons that no textbook ever could. Family members remember him not just for his achievements, but for his warmth, humor, and dedication to those closest to him. He cherished moments with his children, shared stories of triumph and challenge, and provided guidance rooted in experience and love. His impact on family mirrored his impact on the field: steady, reliable, and transformative. He showed us what it means to live with honor and purpose, a sibling shared. That is his true legacy. As we look back on the life of Kenny Easley, it is clear that he was more than a football player. He was a mentor, a leader, and an inspiration. He demonstrated that greatness is achieved not only through talent but through character, perseverance, and dedication to others. The game of football will remember him for the plays, the interceptions, and the tackles, but the hearts of fans, teammates, and family will remember the man behind the helmet. In closing, Kenny Easley leaves a legacy that will endure in the annals of sports history and in the memories of all who admired him. He was the enforcer of the gridiron, a player who brought intensity, intelligence, and integrity to every snap. His life reminds us that true impact is measured not only in achievements, but in the inspiration, mentorship, and love shared along the way. The memory of Kenny Easley will continue to echo in stadiums, living rooms, and training fields, a reminder that greatness is as much about the heart as it is about the game. His name, his spirit, and his example remain with us, a timeless force of athletic excellence and human character.